boy, it's hot. It's hot. Hot. Not complaining though. It's hot, but I'm not complaining. Photography today has evolved into this new form, this new animal, this new beast. Back in the day, it may have been about taking pictures and improving your skills and taking pictures and printing pictures and showing pictures and evolving, getting paid maybe, if you're lucky, and taking more pictures. But today, I mean, it still is that, but the 21st century has added some subgenres of photographers, I think, to the list of photographers that we already had. Yeah. Today we have all these like YouTube channels that, you know, you got your favorite YouTuber, YouTube photographer, who you log onto and you listen to and you watch, and you may even comment and share information with them. I have a few on this channel, which is all good. You know, it's nice to know that there's people watching and you can share and grow with them. But some of the huge sites, the huge websites, photography sites with thousands, maybe even millions of viewers viewing stuff, it's almost like viewing photography channels has become a new subgenre of photography in the 21st century. You no longer have to take pictures anymore. All you have to do is sit and watch these channels and amass information and knowledge, but never put it to use for yourself to improve your own photography. What a lot of people, or some people, seem to be doing is using that information to fight with other people in the comment sections below these videos. And it's interesting, and it's good to know this, I think. And this led me to, you know, I put some notes down today about, you know, musing on the different subgenres of photography in the 21st century, because it's a complete different thing. So this, you know, people who never ever take pictures or haven't got time to take pictures or seem to think sitting and watching these channels is taking pictures, they are now become a subgenre of photography, photographer. Yeah, just sitting and watching. Just imagine that. So I wrote down I got a few different types of photographer that I reckon are the new subgenres of photography for the 21st century. And what I think we should do is like analyze these and look at these and ask the question, what subgenre am I in if I'm in one of these 21st century versions? Maybe we need to look again at ourselves and whether we really are serious about this thing. Or can I say serious about this thing? Because these people are serious, but it isn't photography as we know it, Jim. So anyway, let me go through some of these that are written on this and you can tell me what you think about it. The first one obviously is the brand photographer. I suppose we've always had this little battle of brands between which brand is the best and which brand ain't the best. But what I'm actually talking about is I call it the football photographer. Analogy would be like the football supporter who supports the team, doesn't know why he supports the team or how he got into supporting the team, but once he supports that team, that's his team, so they must be the best because I support that team. Yeah, so it's the fandom, the I shoot Canon, so therefore Canon is the best. But Canon isn't the best because it's the best. Canon is the best because I shoot Canon, or I shoot Sony, or I shoot Fuji. And wherever I shoot, or whatever brand I shoot, that then becomes the best. And it's kind of like you're boosting your own self. You're boosting your own ends. I live in this area. You know, we have this little area code. What's it? Area code wars, where I live in this area code, so therefore this area is the best. I live in that area, so that area is the best. And it's the same kind of mentality as 21st century, maybe millennials way of thinking about things. You boost whatever end you're in. You boost whatever product you support. So, you know, the fighting, the in struggling if I can call it in struggling, the struggling between, I kind of messed this up. The struggling between which brand is the best is based upon which brand I shoot. You know, the President of the United States has an aircraft called Air Force One. And Air Force One is designated Air Force One based upon the president being aboard that plane. So if the president is aboard one plane and he switches to another plane, that plane becomes Air Force One. And it's the same kind of mentality. I am because I am, and I'm there because I'm there, and it is because I am there. So this is what we have. We have what I call the specky techie. This is the second of the photographers of the 21st century. The specky techie photographer, yeah? And that's the stato photographer who bases everything on stats, upon megapixels and sensor size and backside illumination, what the bloody hell that is, and IBIS and all these things that I hear people talking about in these on these photography channels, you know, and people lap it up. You know, the statos lap it up, and because one camera has more megapixels or shoots at a faster burst rate, you can get more bursts in or outputs at 4K that they never use any of this stuff. Or maybe they do use it, but you never see it. They never show you any of their product, what they produce or why they need this stuff. But it is something to bash other photographers with or other cameras with. Super dynamic range, you know, and these stato photographers are always gawping over bodies, and they're kind of like, you know, those seedy guys, the seedy guys gawping over bodies in a Playboy or whatever it is. They do the same thing, but with cameras. They're always looking at these cameras and gawping over these cameras and drooling over cameras and new cameras that come out. They always want the latest and the greatest, just to say they have the latest and the greatest. It's not necessarily about producing stuff, which is what photography was all about back in the day. But this is the 21st century. Things are kind of different now. So I'm not saying this to beat up on anybody who is like this, but it is good to know that there are these types of people who class themselves as photographers. And if you're not in that subgenre, do not find yourself arguing with them, because you will never agree. Their mentality is completely different to yours. So it's good to know, you know, if you're a football photographer, from the first one that I just described, it doesn't make sense you arguing with the specky techie stato people, because the specky techie stato people have a complete different set of rules that they run by. Okay, the next one I got here is a stamp collector's photographer. And that is the one who collects cameras. He's got all these different types of cameras that they've collected over the years. They're amassing a huge range of cameras. It might even go from old film cameras. It might just be old DSLRs that they've had, because every 2 years or 3 years they change their camera, or they may buy 3 or 4 cameras in the space of a year, and they've amassed this range of cameras, and all they do is they pick them up and they look at them and they feel them and they talk about them. It's really kind of like something to boast, you know. It's like stamp collectors want to talk about their stamps. They want to show you their stamps. They want to tell you how much this lens costs. They want to tell you how much this body costs and how rare it is and how you can't get it and how they flew around the world to pick it up. So that's why they've got it, and they want to tell you about it, not actually use it. You never see these people using these things. Or if they do use it, it's very rarely they use it. Yeah? Or using it is secondary to sharing it with you. It's like they have a museum. They are museum curators, really, photographers. Yeah? So it's something to have and to hold till death do we part. I've collected this amass of things. It's kind of like gear acquisition syndrome. It's taken it on to another level. It's gear for the sake of having gear, but gear so that I can show you and you can see how great I am, because I have all these cameras that I'm not actually using. But I'm a photographer, a 21st century photographer, a stamp collector photographer. Yeah? Number 4 I've got here is the wino photographer. and that is the wine connoisseur, the one who collects wines, the film guy, the old school film guy, who is not an old school film guy, he's a new guy who's gotten into old school film. He's probably a hipster with a big beard and a bald head and big glasses. And these people have come into photography maybe in the last 5 years, maybe more recent than that. But they're using all this old gear to make it seem like they've been around forever. But their interest is the taste, the feel. They're not really interested in the image as such. They're interested in these old light leaking cameras like lomographers. They're interested in old cameras that leak light that produces a kind of crackly image. They're more interested in the crackly look of the picture than what it's actually saying. They're more interested in the taste. You know, it's like the wine connoisseurs that are more interested in the taste. They don't care what bottle it comes in. They don't care about the label. What they're interested in is not even the taste, but the aftertaste, the after effect of after I've consumed this stuff. And this is what we've got here, the wino photographer who does this. They're interested in the crackles, the smell of the dark room, the smell of the substance in the dark room, you know. They got high on their own supply, you know, and you should never get high on your own supply. So they're in a world of their own. And these people, if you get into an argument with somebody who thinks on that level and you're in a different sphere, a different subgenre of photography, you're never going to agree. So it's good to know which one of these you are in, which one of these you have in front of you, you know? Because I see all these arguments online, on YouTube channels, in the comments. And when you analyze it, the different people arguing are of these different subgenres, and they're never going to agree. And it's like, because we see photography as one big thing, it's just photography. It's not. It's complete different subgenres with different rules and different ways of thinking. And it will help us, I think, if we can analyze it and look and see, okay, this guy here who's arguing with me, he's a wino. He's into, you know, the look and the feel. I'm more into the brand maybe, or I'm more into the stats maybe. So I'm not going to argue with him because this doesn't even make any sense. So let's just move on. What else we got? We've got the probability photographer. This is an interesting one. Wow, it's hot. I'm sweating here. The probability photographer. That's the one, you know, you have these YouTube channels where people argue about what the major brands are going to do in the next 6 months, in the next year. They're speculating on what is going to come out, what ain't going to come out, what Canon's going to do, what lenses they're going to do, they're going to bring out, what mirrorless Nikon's going to do. They have no idea what they're going to do. But these people will sit down all day long and argue on YouTube about something they have no knowledge of. And I think this is, it seems crazy to me, but there are a lot of people out there that are like this. Yeah? It's a subgenre of photography. They will sit down all day doing it, talking about it. What we're going to do, what they're going to do, and how many people's going to switch from Canon to Sony, or who's going to switch from Sony to Fuji. They don't even know themselves. And some of the things that they discuss that they think these brands are going to do, they don't even do. These things don't even materialize. But I've seen heated arguments on some of these channels with people arguing about this stuff that isn't even going to happen. And they spend all their time doing it. These people, you never see any of their product. You never see any of their photography. But they class themselves as photographers. So watch out for the probability photographer near you. Is he one? Are you one? Am I one? You got to check yourself against these subgenres to see where you fit. The last one I put down here was just some brainstorming I was doing today. The last one I put down here is the copycat photographer. The copycat photographer is the one that sees what the big YouTube channels are doing and then just copies it. You know, I've seen so many people copying Peter McKinnon. So many people, You know, he's got his little B-roll to start his little YouTube channel with, and then he's got his coffee thing that he has going on most of the time, and then he shoots from 100 different angles and he puts it all together, and he's got his backing track and his theme tune, and then it all comes on. I even see people copy the cheesy little wipe that he does where he puts his hand over the screen. People, that's cheesy. Trust me, it's cheesy. In 6 months' time, you're going to be deleting those videos because that is cheesy. Trust me. But I've seen so many people doing that. So many people copying Casey Neistat. And them same people who copy the big channels, I mean, I've got nothing against Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat. They've got great channels. They are leading their field. They're leaders of their generation. But come on now. You can do your own thing. If you're going to be complaining that Canon isn't innovating, Canon's not innovating, so I'm switching. But when I get the chance to do my own product, when I get the chance to show what I can do, I'm just biting somebody else's style. What is that? What is that? That doesn't even make any sense to me. So, come on now. Let's take our own footsteps and do our own content and speak from our own viewpoint. And I know it's hard, it's difficult to do that, but the more you do it, the more easy it will become. So let's not find ourselves arguing with people in these specific subgenres, unless, of course, we are people of that kind of subgenre. If you're one of the copycats, then it's cool. You lot stick together and do your thing, and it's a great thing since sliced bread. But come on now, you got to understand people are going to see what you're doing is cheesy. I'm sure people don't like what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care. I've got to find my own way. I've got to find my own footprints. I've got to find my own way, and I'm finding it surely, slowly, my own fingerprints, my own way, every day when I come on and I do a video. So, you know, that's what it's all about for me. But at the end of the day, you know, it's everybody's got to make what they do count. You've got to do your own thing and make your own voice count in this 21st century photography, because we don't know where this is all going to end up. You know, I heard Jared Poland say that photography is going to change in the next few months. It's going to completely change. I don't really see that, but hey, that's his viewpoint. Everybody's got their own viewpoint. I can't see, you know, DSLRs dying out because mirrorless is coming into being. You know, at the end of the day, the people who use their cameras to produce for clients, the clients don't care what camera you use, and that will always be. That will always be. So anyway, it's just a little rant I wanted to get off my chest. It's a while since I've done a rant, and I don't want to be known as a rant channel, but sometimes you just got to do it, innit? Just got to do it. So anyway, that's it. Keep it locked, and then we'll talk again, maybe with something more constructive and productive next time. Peace. That was a long video about nothing.